What can you tell us on any progress that might be made on Wayne Rooney's new contract?
As soon as we have the information to give you, we'll give you it.
Can I ask you how important a player he might be, though, in your reshaping of this football?
Everybody knows how important a player he is. He's a terrific football player, and you know, if we can get it done, that'll be great.
And how constructive was the warm weather break you done last cover?
Thank you. Don't normally go burnt nose. That's probably more to do. It was great that we had some time together with the players. First time I've really had a chance to have a few days with the lads. We trained. We had some relaxation time as well. So it was very good.
Is that going to be fundamental for the 12 remaining games that you had that time together? You can build on that, do you think?
Well, I think you hope that what you get some benefit from it. I'm sure it'll benefit the players of the chance to relax, and because of that, you know, we would have rather been in the FA Cup, let me tell you that, more than anything, but we weren't. So the next thing we've got to do is make sure we get them ready for the 12 games you've mentioned.
David, in terms of Wayne, I know you can't give us an update on his contract at the moment, but as a figure for the future here, obviously the captaincy is going to be up for grabs in the summer as well. How important is he, and how central to your plans overall is he as an ambassador for the club, as a figure at this club as well?
Well, as I said, I've just repeated myself then, and you know, I don't want to get ahead of myself, so I would only repeat myself again to answer your question, really.
Okay, moving on to Crystal Palace then. Their form under Tony Pulis has been much better than the way they started the season. Is it a more difficult task going there now than perhaps it would have been in the early stages?
Well, I'd never be disrespectful to any manager, because I think Ian Holloway done a brilliant job in bringing Crystal Palace up and getting them going the way they are. You know, they've got a great crowd behind them. But I think Tony Pulis has showed all his experience. A lot of people were writing Tony off, you know, at his time at Stoke City. But he hasn't half gone in there and made a few people eat their words, because he's done a great job.
In terms of the job he did at Stoke and the job he's doing at Crystal Palace, do you expect to see a similar sort of side and approach that he had at Stoke?
Well, you can talk about whatever you want, but results are what matter. And you need to think about where Crystal Palace were until where they are just now. And I think what matters to Tony Pulis is results, and he's very good at getting them.
David, at the risk of asking you to go back over old ground.
Shouldn't do it then. Don't bore everybody.
No. How important? I mean, Wayne had a very difficult season last year, and he's obviously come back very strong.
Sorry, we're here to talk about Crystal Palace.
Yeah, we've answered two questions on that already.
I'm just asking you how impressed you've
been. Well, we'll answer it when the time comes. Okay.
Fine. Crystal Palace then. What do you have to do to beat a Tony Pulis side?
Well, I think Tony's always got his sides very well organised and well drilled. You can see that their players are made very well aware of how he wants them to play, what's expected from them, and he's had great success throughout his career. He's been a really successful manager in the Premier League, and as I said, you know, he's got off to Crystal Palace. I mean, if he keeps Crystal Palace up, I don't think there'll be certainly be nobody in this room, and probably nobody in many other rooms, journalists who would have asked questions would have thought that Crystal Palace could stay up. So he's doing a great job with them.
And in terms of the significance for your season, how important is it to win there to get that momentum going?
Well, we want to win. We've got a big game coming up Tuesday night as well. We've got two games now in I don't know how many hours. It's difficult that we've got a game at 5:30 and then we go to play in a European Cup tie on Tuesday as well, but that's the way it is. But what I've got to say, you know, we'll be ready, but we want to try and be good in both games.
And what kind of squad do you take with you for the weekend, and how are you going to shuffle it between those two games?
Take them all, and you know, we'll get everybody ready, hopefully, to play in both games.
Any injuries? Any players that might not make it?
Yeah, it's every club's got players who have injuries. We've got the same.
11 points between you and the top 4 with 12 games to go. Is that a bridgeable gap?
We have to try, don't we? We have to try and make sure we can get as close as we can and see if we can put some pressure on the teams above us.
And I think you've managed 40 games now at Manchester United, and none of those games have had back-to-back same starting 11s. How surprised at that?
Not surprised at all.
Is that down to injuries?
No, sometimes it's down to it's a squad here which has always been used to being rotated and used. The amount of games that they've played over the season, and that's why, you know, lots of times Manchester United has been very strong at the end of the season, because they've made sure that the players haven't played every game, and when really the big games come in the end, that they've got a lot of fresh players. So we're fortunate that with the squad we've got here, we've been able to do that. We've tried to give everybody an opportunity and to show what they can do as well, which I think is really important when you get a new manager coming in.
David, in this season, lots of people have said it's the most competitive Premier League ever, both the battle at the bottom, the top 4, everything. Do you think this season in particular, there's far more chance to make up a margin like 11 points than other years where teams are perhaps far more consistent at the top?
I might disagree with you a bit about the Premier League, what you say about the Premier League, but that's only me.
You don't think it's been as competitive as people say?
Well, I think the Premier League have got it the way they want it, that's for sure. But they've got what they wanted.
What do you mean by that?
I wouldn't answer that.